Mr. Gilles Lunzenfichter, he is the CEO of the Medisanté Group. He will tell us more about medical IoT. Why is IoT adoption in the healthcare lagging behind other industries? That's a big question, I believe, and I want to introduce you also a bit background about Gilles. So he is a Swiss-based global innovator in medical IoT, who also exhibits here at the Medica Connected Healthcare Forum. And he wants to put the Internet of Things, the IoT, to work for care teams by leveraging global cloud and IoT technologies for non-identifiable device data. And I think now, please, I want to invite you now on that stage, and we are looking forward to your presentation, Gilles.
Thank you, Christian. Okay, so big topic, right? So first of all, let's start with facts. The reality based on a report from IoT Analytics is indeed that the healthcare is lagging behind other industries. So IoT has been very popular with industries like automotive or retail, and I believe that healthcare now needs to catch up. And so one hypothesis why this is, we believe that the smartphones and the consumer apps with the devices, the well-being devices, have been very popular since the introduction of the iPhone. And paradoxically, this slowed down the adoption of cellular IoT, like happens in automotive or in retail, for remote patient monitoring. So I believe that unlike most industries that were the first to adopt IoT, the medtech industry and the healthcare industry are very fragmented. Both industries are very fragmented. So when you connect a lot of devices from a lot of vendors with a lot of medical systems from a lot of vendors, it's a kind of double interoperability nightmare, because you have two fragmented industries that try to connect to each other. While in automotive, it's pretty simple. You know, you have Volkswagen, they put the sensor in the car, they sell 10 million cars with 10 million sensors, they go to the cloud of Volkswagen, and that's it. So really this interoperability issue is fundamental in the healthcare and medtech industry. And the second thing is that unlike in the USA, in Europe, there has been no broad reimbursement policies for remote patient monitoring. And if the doctors don't get paid for the remote patient monitoring, you know, the likelihood that they do something part-time as a hobby, an unpaid hobby, is pretty limited. So the good news is that reimbursement policies in the wake of the pandemic now arrive in Europe. So Germany has been leading the stage here with a real reimbursement code that was announced in 2022 for heart insufficiency. And France is following with an official code in 2023. And then I just turned the flags, you know, the three-color flag for the Netherlands. They're also doing this in 2023. So that's really good news because the hospital at home, the vision of the hospital at home, it really relies on these IoT data that land in a health IT system. So as I said, the devices are the new data collection engine in virtual care. And while the teleconsultation went through the roof during the pandemic, it did not involve devices. It was mainly one-off questions like, I have a sneeze, what should I do? But really with remote patient monitoring, we talk about long-term interactions between the doctor and the patients, which are for chronic patients, elderly patients, and it's really multi-year interactions. And so as a matter of fact, the reality is that this data collection during the pandemic for those elderly patients that were the only ones who needed to be protected and telemonitored during the pandemic, it didn't work at all. And why didn't it work? We believe there is a need for a paradigm shift in the device experience, both for the doctor and for the patient. It needs to happen on both sides, because one size doesn't fit all. What is very good for the younger consumers for self-monitoring might not be the best solution for the elderly chronic patients in telemonitoring or in remote patient monitoring. So if I would summarize what makes it a bit complicated today, that the same model does not apply to both segments, the self-monitoring segment and the remote patient monitoring segment, is that the medtech software silos, I mean the mobile app, the device cloud, the API of every vendor, they kind of stand in the way of a data collection to the screen of the doctor. And that's why I believe that there should be a back-end, a cloud infrastructure for provisioned IoT devices that require zero-touch configuration by the patient at home. And this really what we do. So if I summarize the paradigm shift that is required, of course, reimbursement, we've seen it's coming. Then the second point, it's interoperability. So ideally, there would be one cloud that connects a lot of devices with a lot of systems. Then in terms of device management, when we are on self-monitoring, you don't need to manage 10,000 devices because you are one person looking at your own data. So there is no need for device monitoring. But if you start in population health to say, I want to protect and telemonitor 10,000 chronic patients above 75, you'd better think of remote device monitoring. The third thing is the device assignment. By default, with a mobile app, it happens in the mobile app on the consumer smartphone. But in remote patient monitoring, it needs to happen in a compliant health IT system. And the last point, of course, is the device connectivity. The device is less exposed directly to the consumer. It's not the consumer who buys the device, so it's not really the consumer who chooses the brand of the device. It's more a healthcare provider or hospital that will buy thousands or tens of thousands of devices. And what really matters to them is how well it's connected to their health IT system and how sure it is, because they don't want to receive a Bitcoin invoice from Boris. Or they don't want their hospital be paralyzed during a week. So we have built really at Medisanté this first global medical IoT infrastructure that connects the medtech world in the home with the health IT systems that the doctors are using. And we primarily enable the tech support teams with those devices that are cellular enabled. They connect directly over a cellular network without a smartphone of the consumer. And basically, we enable the tech teams to connect and manage a large fleet of such devices that have two capabilities. The first one is that there is no configuration required by the patient. So any patient can be enrolled. And second, these devices are provisioned by the sales team, by the care team, sorry. And so ultimately, by doing that, we enable remote device monitoring, and we enable it at scale across countries, across vendor silos and platform silos. The second thing we do in terms of enabling that is really linked with the IoT technology embedded in the device is that we let the care teams just scale remote patient monitoring initiatives they have in the platform of their choice, right? So we let them assign a device 33 to Mr. Jones in a compliant health IT system. Mr. Jones goes home, he measures, and 20 seconds later, it's on the screen of the doctor's health IT system. And this is very important because it needs also to be simple, seamless for the doctor, this assignment. And they don't want to make any compromise on security, privacy, or inclusion, and that's what we enable with them. So just as an example of the partnership we have our partner Fora from Taiwan that came up with the first global telehealth gateway that allows a Bluetooth auto-pairing of Bluetooth devices and then a secure auto-transmission via the gateway to our cloud to any health IT system. And this is really the way it should work in the future. And now I'm just posing for the next slide because it's an announcement I'm doing right now at Medica. So like on CNN, you know, we can say breaking news, right? So basically, I want to make an announcement about a partnership with Beurer, and I want to call Marco Bühler, the CEO of Beurer, on the stage. So,
thank you, Gilles.
So, thank you. Welcome. Maybe you can say a few things on the partnership and tell how we join forces in this new virtual care market that is emerging right now in Europe.
Absolutely, yes. Hi, everybody. I'm Marco, CEO of Beurer, as you already said. Beurer is a company which is pretty old, 103 years old, founded by my great-grandparents a long time ago. And as of today, we are a multinational company and selling around 100 countries. And we are European market leaders in consumer medical devices. So that's a different world that you are coming from. But as you have just shown very plastically, the two worlds are growing together now. Now, because something is happening here, and it really makes a change. I will explain in a second. We have started with connected devices already 10 years ago, almost with the first iPhone 3 to be precise, when Bluetooth came up. And since then, we are selling our connected devices to the end consumer with our apps. And that's already, probably you don't know, 20 to 25% of our revenues is done by connected devices. So the revolution coming from below is already happening. And now the two worlds converge. So that's the reason why is Beurer going in that direction into this partnership with Medisanté today and not earlier. You have seen one of the reasons just on the slides of Gilles. Reimbursement is happening now also in Europe. It's been quite a market in the US in the last 3 years, but now it's happening in Europe. We expect it to grow significantly in the next years. And the second reason why we are going in, because we have always waited for the right partner to do it. And right partner means we need somebody who has the technology to make cellular devices, cellular technology. That's really totally different from Wi-Fi or Bluetooth connected devices. It's much more difficult to engineer it, and it's much easier to use for the end consumer, for the patient. And we found Medisanté, and we know each other for quite some time. Already, we found them now, they found us, and we decided to go together. And I think the strengths of both companies, we are the device people with own manufacturing, with own development. We develop the products, and you are the software guys, the IoT guys, with all this know-how about cellular technology also. So really two things come together, which are more than just 1 + 1. It's really more than that. And I'm very happy to start that. And yeah.
Okay, thank you, Marco. So 1 + 1 is 3 with us, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Excellent, thank you.
Very good, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Marco. So I'm just going to conclude. The question was why IoT in healthcare is lagging behind. So the good news is that with this partnership, I think we will catch up, and we will put IoT to work for care teams in the coming years. It's the beginning. It's an emerging market, but we want to offer the right solutions for the doctors and for the patients in virtual care to enable the hospital at home. You can read about in the newspapers, but very few in Europe have made it reality. Our intent is to make it real.
Thank you so much, Marco, and thank you so much, Gilles, for that product launch. What's better for Medica than having a product launch directly live on the stage? So
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Some extra hands. And we have to move now directly to our Innovation World Cup, where we want to see also new innovative topics and bringing them down to earth. But I think you both will now really make an impact in the remote patient monitoring market. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Christian.
Thank you.